Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for the opportunity of speaking at ESCAP's 78th session. We're no longer living in what could be described as stable times. I'm not referring to the conduct of wars and the suppression of human rights around the globe. As deplorable as these might be, I'm instead referring you to the fact that for all Glasgow's promises, we're still on a direct path to over 3 degrees global warming before the end of this century. When he launched this year's IPCC report, the Secretary General of the United Nations said, "We are firmly on track towards an unlivable world." He said, "This is not fiction or exaggeration. It is what science tells us will result from our current energy policies." So when I hold my granddaughters in my arms, acceptance of the science becomes almost unbearable. It's within their lifetimes that the climate disaster will unfold its full fury. I come from Fiji, and nature's fury is the best way I can describe to you what it's like to be caught in the middle of a monster hurricane. Who in their right minds is ready to sacrifice their offspring to such a future? This is why the main thrust of my messaging as Special Envoy is intergenerational justice. For the children in the path of spreading desertification, for those suffering the onslaught of tropical storms of increasing ferocity and frequency, for the young ones losing their lands to rising sea levels, losing the beauty of biodiversity on land and sea, fleeing the effects of climate change, be they flood, famine, plague, or war. For all of them, we must act now or bow our heads in uttermost shame. Acting now means transforming our ways, our energy supplies and modes of transport, our food systems and our linear economies, transforming them now while we still have the glimmer of a 1.5 degrees future. It means turning from that linear road towards the precipice to follow instead the rational path to a sustainable, resilient future through the logic of circular economies in love and respect for the natural world. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, we're not without leadership. We're not without a plan. We have created a survivable plan for life on this planet. It took many years to formulate, but in the end, in the year 2015, it was universally accepted by the leaders of all the countries of the world. The plan comes in the shape of the Paris Climate Agreement and the UN's 2030 Sustainable Development Agenda. Implement this plan with integrity, and we will give our children and grandchildren the security we seek for them in what remains of the 21st century. But currently, the required integrity is lacking. So here we've got work to do, and I commend the ESCAP Secretariat for maintaining the focus. Also fully support ESCAP's highlighting of the significance of ocean-based action on climate change in Asia and the Pacific. This is especially commendable when you consider that our region has a major share in global GHG emissions, and when you consider the vast size of the region's oceanic coverage, and take in the heavy impacts of climate-related disasters. I'd also like to positively mention ESCAP's collaboration with other UN agencies through the Regional Decade Program developed within the framework of the UN Decade of Ocean Science for Sustainable Development. The program addresses the ocean decade's challenge to enhance the understanding of the ocean climate nexus and stimulate action in Asia and the Pacific. With UNFCCC's SUBSTA meeting further considering the ocean climate nexus in Bonn on June 15th, our region should be underscoring the relevance of the ocean to climate change and adaptation, including the role of blue carbon and key ecosystems such as mangroves and salt marshes and seagrasses and coral reefs. These nature-based solutions provide multiple opportunities to leverage climate action while promoting a sustainable blue economy aimed at carbon neutrality by 2050. I'd like to acknowledge the sub-regional accomplishments too, such as the adoption of the ASEAN Leaders' Declaration on the Blue Economy, which explicitly recognizes climate change threats, including sea level rise, and emphasizes the role of the ocean as a key driver of economic growth and innovation in Southeast Asia. Acknowledgement is also due to the Indonesian presidency of the G20, which includes the promotion of ocean-based solutions to climate change through enhanced cooperation in science, research, and innovation. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, In conclusion, as we approach the UN Ocean Conference to be held in Lisbon, 27 June to 1st July, the Asia-Pacific region should be scaling up its ocean action strategies. I believe those requiring emphasis include investing in science and technology to trigger the sustainable blue economy, and promoting science policy frameworks and discontinuing regressive practices, especially the use of fossil fuels. As our region prepares for the UN Ocean Conference, this Commission session comes at an opportune moment to strengthen collaboration and concerted action. And while we must embrace the needs of larger continental players in Asia, I'm sure you all remain sensitive to the needs of the smaller member states, including SIDS in the Pacific, who bear the impacts of climate change and have far fewer alternatives. With these words, I thank you for your attention and look forward to meeting many of you in Lisbon next month.